News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moskow.
Karen, the Beijing summit between Presidents Trump and Xi Jinping of China is in the books. The president is on his way back to Washington now after a whirlwind 36 hours that ended with a visit to Zhongnanhai, the secretive headquarters of China's Communist Party. The president is touting his trip as a success.
This has been an incredible visit. I think a lot of good has come of it. We've made some fantastic trade deals, great for both countries.
And President Trump spoke alongside President Xi inside the heavily guarded compound. Bloomberg's Min Low reports the details on some of those deals have been wanting.
Boeing, a 200-jet deal that was less than expected. Many people were expecting as much as 500 jets, so we saw the stock of Boeing fall on the back of that. But still quite a significant one, just given that it puts an end to a near decade-long freeze in orders from China. The last time we saw such a big deal was when President Trump last visited back in 2017.
Bloomberg's Min Low reports the U.S. and China are also discussing a mechanism to fast-track some investment deals, as well as reducing tariffs on non-critical goods.
Nathan, there is another key pledge coming out of the summit. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer told Bloomberg's Anne-Marie Horde-Dern about a new agricultural pact with China.
We expect to also see an agreement for double-digit billion purchases of ags over the next 3 years per year coming out of this visit. And that's more general. That's aggregate. That's not just soybeans. That's everything else.
U.S. Trade Rep Jamieson Greer told our Anne-Marie Horde-Dern that China has kept up on existing soybean pledges and expects them to fulfill further pledges. Greer mentioned China re-upped U.S. beef plant export registrations as part of that progress, and soybean futures fell, however, and corn futures paired gains, with farmers and traders searching for more concrete details on talks.
Well, Karen, President Trump also says he discussed the war in Iran with President Xi, and he says they both have common goals in trying to end it.
We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. We want the straits open. We're closing it now. They closed it, and we closed it on top of them.
Well, earlier, the president told Fox News that she offered to help with negotiations, but China has not confirmed that. President Trump also said the U.S. doesn't need the Strait of Hormuz opened as much as China and Gulf allies do, before saying he wants the strait reopened. The president also told Fox the goal of recovering Iran's highly enriched uranium is, in his words, more for public relations. He says the U.S. has round-the-clock surveillance on the material, which is thought to be buried in Iran's bombed nuclear sites.
Nathan, as President Trump departs China, another world leader is coming. The South China Morning Post is reporting Russian President Vladimir Putin will visit Beijing next Wednesday. This will be Putin's first trip abroad this year, underscoring the close ties between Beijing and Moscow.
Back to the Middle East, Karen. The United Arab Emirates says it's building a new pipeline bypassing the Strait of Hormuz and plans to have it in operation by next year. According to a social media post, Abu Dhabi National Oil Company will double its oil export capacity through the port of Fujairah once it completes the project, helping meet global demand.
Let's head to the UK now, Nathan, where the future of Prime Minister Keir Starmer remains in question. We go to London, get the very latest with Bloomberg's James Woolcock. James, good morning.
Good morning, Karen and Nathan. The starting gun on the race to replace Keir Starmer fired 3 times yesterday. 6 a.m. London time, bang. Former Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner says she is open to standing. 1 p.m, bang. Health Secretary Wes Streeting resigns. And 6 p.m. last night, bang. Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham, the most popular Labour politician in the country, says he wants to take a job in Parliament, the first step to a formal challenge. All that political volatility has gilts set for their biggest weekly increase since March. In London, James Woolcock, Bloomberg Radio.
All right, James, thank you. Back here in the U.S., workers at the nation's biggest commuter railroad are threatening to walk off the job tomorrow. For the latest, let's bring in Bloomberg's John Tucker in New York. John.
And Nathan, the contract talks between New York City's transit system and the Long Island Railroad workers have hit a snag. The union free to strike after today when a cooling off period runs out. Rob Free is president of the Long Island Railroad.
Well, let's just say first and foremost, we do not want to strike. That is the last thing we want. We're trying to negotiate in good faith.
While both sides agree on a retroactive 9.5% pay increase over 3 years, the impasse is on the wage hikes for this year. Nearly 300,000 weekday riders use the LIRR. A strike would force thousands of commuters onto the island's already congested roadways. By at least one estimate, the economic impact of suspending service would amount to $70 million per day. The agency has a contingency plan for buses that would just make a dent barely. Commuters are being urged to work from home if there is a walkout. In New York, I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
All right, John, thank you. Well, President Trump's latest financial disclosures show that he made a slew of stock and bond purchases in the first quarter of the year, totaling of millions of dollars. We want to get the very latest with Bloomberg's Alexis Christoforous. Alexis, good morning.
Good morning, Karen. The president bought as much as $5 million each in companies, including Nvidia, Oracle, Boeing, and Costco. 6 of the president's trades involved Intel. His administration hammered out an agreement to take a 10% stake in the chipmaker in August. Trump made investments related to companies including Netflix, Paramount, Skydance, and Warner Brothers, and sold holdings in technology firms Microsoft, Meta Platforms, and Amazon. Unlike his predecessors, President Trump didn't divest or move his assets into a blind trust with an independent overseer. His business empire is managed by 2 of his sons and operates in several areas that intersect with presidential policy. The White House has said on previous occasions that neither Trump nor his family members are making investment decisions for him. Alexis Christoforous, Bloomberg Radio.
And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moskow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.